Good, we are now streaming.
Wow.
YouTube Live, Wiscasset. Okay.
So glad you're here, John. I didn't have a clue.
Do we have copies of the agenda for tonight?
I do.
Steal one from over there. Come around. Thank you.
Since I'm already up.
All of myself tonight.
I thought you had certificate of appropriateness. No?
Okay.
Not
we are-
until March, I don't
Who
think.
needs them?
We're all set.
Okay.
Grab one from the pile over there.
Good. I'm going to call the meeting to order at 7 minutes after 12. Okay, let's move on to number 2. Approve meeting minutes for February 1st, 2018.
Having read the minutes, I move that the minutes be approved as written.
It's been moved and written. Do I hear a second?
Eeny, meeny, miny, moe. You want to do it?
Okay.
Between the two of us.
I will second it. They were great minutes, and thank you. I like that
I'll do it
particular
that.
format.
I'll do it that way from now on. That just
Good.
with the attachments, it made it much easier.
Super. Okay, certificate of appropriateness review,
we wanna-
none are scheduled.
John,
You wanna take a
we
vote
need to
on
vote.
that?
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you. All those in favor? Good. It has been approved, 3-0.
I thought we did have COAs for.
Well, we did. We've had a lot of action in the COA fund. Stephen and Joan Barnett are not going to be able to make it until probably the middle of April. And they have that house on Fort Hill Street, and Steve contacted me and said that he had had a back operation.
Oh,
And he is a contractor. I don't know if you've had a chance to look at this, but it's really, he's done a super job. And if you don't have a copy of this, you can go to the box that's in the office over here. And we can, and also Terry Heller is another one that we have. And she is working with Marie, my wife, in order to set up her. She called me and we talked. And Terry is going to write another certificate of appropriateness because she's going to get together with her contractor and change this one. And she said, do I need another one? I said, well, if you can change it, yes. So that should be, I'm not exactly sure when that's going to be. I thought it was going to be
Where? Which?
2 Morton.
2 Morton Street. And there are copies in the box, but I know that they're already, it's locked now. And then I've had 2 other phone calls. One about the man who bought the Musical Wonder House, and he's going to turn it in. He talked about it, and he said, "Do I need a Wiscasset, historic, go in front of the Historic Commission and get a COA?" And I said, "Yes." Sure.
What is he planning to do?
I'm not sure. He didn't really come out with it yet. And I said, if it's anything on the outside, you definitely have to talk to us. But right now, he was talking about the inside.
The inside is a lot of work.
Yeah.
We have nothing to do with that.
Yeah.
No.
You have nothing to do
No,
with
no.
that, sorry.
We don't. Yeah, I agree. But he is very, enthused about it. And then I had another phone call from a man who is going to build a new house. And I can't think of the name. What's it called? Rats Alley? The other alley? That is,
Bigfoot?
yeah, right. There's a lot there. I guess, I was looking at it, I was looking at the map. And
Tiny
he's
house.
gonna build a house there. So we have another new house that he's going to, and I told him, I said, well, make sure that you read the Wiscasset Historic Ordinance, so you'll know what to do. And, so those should be coming up in April, I would hope so. But, you know, people have been calling and they've been asking for a lot of information, and I have been trying to keep them going. And I've been asking other people to sit down and talk to them, especially Stan. And I gear them towards Stan. So that's what we're talking about. And I've also told them that we have to have a minimum of 10 days before the certificate can come in front of the commission. And I know that I talked to Kathleen Onorazo about this, and she feels that it's necessary, even 14 days is the best. So in order to get all the paperwork done and the copies and sent out to the newspapers. So from that side of the ledger, we have a lot of things going on. So would anybody else like to say anything about certificate of appropriateness?
Just to ask the question, Susan, the musical Wonder House, is that one of the ones that was part of the original historic houses on the register?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's right there.
That is a classic mirror image house, which
Yep.
is really neat.
No, not anything that concerns us, but it's just a matter of, okay, if it is on the national register as opposed to just a historic house in town,
No, I don't think it's on the National Register.
but it was
I-
part of the district nomination.
Oh, yes,
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
that kind of puts it there. I mean, it's not in the same category as the Stillwell, like,
As compared to your house, when do you think it was built? The music Wonder House?
I think it was early 19th century.
Okay.
It
Okay.
said in the real estate listing, because I stopped it, as you do.
Yeah.
And I cannot remember.
Okay, public, there's nothing more on 3. Number 4, public comment on non-agenda and agenda items.
I just have a quick question. Are you here because of the appeals, or are you just here to
I'm here as a consultant.
consult?
As a consultant, I was appointed by the selectmen.
Okay. Just what I want.
You can write down that we need a lot of consulting. Oh, maybe I shouldn't have said that.
And so what?
The first one is from Susan, and I'm just going to read it. Under 10.6.1.1, administrative procedures. I would
Okay,
suggest,
wait 1 second. Excuse me, John. On the paper that I handed out to you,
Mhm.
these came from Bill Sutter and
Oh, so you took the email from Bill,
from
okay.
Bill Sutter and from Jim Cochin.
from Jim, okay, good.
The first one is from Bill Sutter.
Okay, I'll read it out loud. The town shall, at the applicant's expense, place a notice in 2 publications with local circulation of the scheduled hearing, the applicant name, the address of the proposed work, and a brief description of the proposed work. Such notice to appear not less than 3 or 4 or more than 10 days prior the scheduled hearing. Insert it too. Okay, let's talk about this.
clarifies things or makes things simpler or anything else.
Yeah,
From-
I'm not sure if it either. Let's look at 10.6.1 now. See what they have. Has everybody got an open copy of it? Read it too, read it now, as it's written.
Oh, well, it's gonna hopefully change.
Okay, 10.6.1.1, notice to applicant, property owner, and abutters. Before consideration of a certificate of appropriateness, the town shall inform the applicant and property owner of the date, time, location of meeting at which the application shall be reviewed. Failure of any person to receive notice shall not necessitate another hearing or invalidate any action of the commission.
I think that if we do anything about this posting in newspapers, it belongs in 10.6.1.2, which is where a notice of public meeting will be posted at Town Hall at least 5 days before the public meeting and on the town's website. In the case of an application for new building or the demolition of any building, a hearing notice shall be placed in a newspaper of general circulation.
Which one is that, Susan? I've got-
10.6.1.2.
Okay, yeah. hold on.
Okay, then that should be, I think we should put something in there about the time. I think it should be posted in the newspaper no less than 1 week before the hearing.
Okay,
other
so
words,
which would
we
mean
had-
you would take out a notice of the public meeting will be posted at Town Hall at least 5 days. Would you-
No, it can be posted at Town Hall, but a hearing notice should be placed in a newspaper of general circulation. Go down again.
Okay, I agree. I think it should be on 10.6.1.2, and you can actually just put in the town shall at the applicant's expense. Place notice in 2 publications with local circulation.
I don't think 2 publications is fair or just or reasonable or right, because nothing else goes into 2 publications. It's a publication
A
of
publication?
general circulation. Planning board does not put it into everything.
I don't know, to be honest. I
Um,
don't know if they do. It's in
Board of
ours,
Appeals
but
doesn't. I don't think even the selectmen do. Not sure about that last one.
what they do is they buy a block.
But I don't think that that should be a requirement. I think it should be 1 newspaper. If they buy the block, if the town does that and it's no more expensive
It's
than
less expensive.
in 1 newspaper, it's less expensive than in 1 newspaper? No.
No, but it's less expensive than buying.
Exactly,
Single.
but that's up to the
Yeah,
town.
but the point that I would make is that within this town, people read two newspapers.
Right, but they would
And
get
they
it.
also read the Lincoln County,
Right,
and they also read our Wiscasset newspaper.
right, but if they were just reading one, they would get it in, I mean, if they were reading just the Wiscasset newspaper or just the Lincoln County newspaper.
Yeah.
Well, probably more people read the Portland Press Herald
That's,
than a combination of
Yeah,
those
well,
two.
but for local news, I disagree on that. Local news, it's always people have, and I've talked to people about this.
But if they're
People
reading
read the Lincoln County news, and I've noticed that there's been a difference in, actually what they've said.
Of course there has, John.
Sure. No, I
I mean-
mean, things that have been put in to both newspapers.
Articles have been different. Advertisements have not.
I would ask this question with a rep from the paper, and I don't know without the answer. If it goes into the Wiscasset paper, doesn't it automatically go into the Booth Bay Register?
yes,
That's two papers.
Yep.
The other question would be, are we still planning on using the poster?
I find that absolutely the other half of the public notification of this is a public poster at the property.
Because if we hit one paper, not knowing why Bill has suggested two,
Mhm.
he may have a great reason, but he
Well,
hasn't.
I think Bill suggested too, because he thinks the same that I do about, the Lincoln County.
I think if you're going to say two, then you've got to specify which two. I don't know. I don't think putting it into two papers is simplifying things. Our ordinances, as a rule, and state notifications go into a newspaper of general circulation, and it's always the Wiscasset newspaper. Just saying. However, I'll rephrase it however you want.
Well, I personally like the way it's written, too.
All right?
Because if it does go into the Wiscasset paper, we know it's gonna go into the Booth Bay, but if we, without
well, you
making
guys
that
buy,
comment.
the town buys blocks that, for both the Lincoln County News and for the Wiscasset newspaper. We share the notices together. So if you send them to one, the other one gets it. They're in both.
Yeah, I have noticed that about the obituaries, that
Yeah.
are, just
Same
about
thing.
flat out straight.
So I don't know that it would really make that much of a difference, because I mean, if you say Warner paper, if you send it to us, Lincoln County News is gonna get it. If you send it to Lincoln County News, Wiscasset News is gonna get it. So it doesn't really matter.
And also on that part, I know that if the town advertises jobs, like a job, for instance, that they put it out into the Wiscasset paper, and it goes into Booth Bay, but then the sharing would go over to Lincoln County.
Right. Unless it's a job that's specific, has a specific residence requirement.
Yeah,
In that way, in that case.
and I think that's what Bill is talking about, this particular,
Would wording it in such a way that identifies the two methods of public notice, a newspaper and a public poster?
I don't think you call a poster a publication.
It's a public notice.
Yeah, it is a public notice, but I think two
No, that's what I'm
newspapers
saying.
and a
A
public.
a newspaper publication, A,
And you're saying one.
one, and a public notice poster. Like, that's too odd, by keep adding things to it, you're making it more complicated. I think we were trying to simplify it.
Okay. From that standpoint, simplification.
Okay, now,
And
if we
local-
do 10.6.1.2A, strike out everything after code enforcement officer. and move it down to A, public notice. A notice of the public meeting will be posted at the town hall at least 5 days before the public meeting and on the town's website. I think that should be rewritten to say at town hall and on the town's website. 5 days.
And where did you put this, that,
It's a new section under 10.6.1.2, A.
okay,
We're adding an A there.
all right.
And I'll type this up for you.
Okay, yeah, okay, good.
Okay, now, I think, for me, I would like to see all applications in the newspaper, not just for demolition or application for new building.
How does that work out to an expense? I'm asking a question here, because that was another discussion having to do with the expense to
Right.
the town, the expense to the applicant.
Do you remember how much, do you know how much an ad is?
You guys have a special deal, so I don't know exactly.
Yeah.
But it's because we run it in both papers, the Lincoln County
Yeah.
News and us. It's a little bit more than like a single-use ad, but
Yeah.
not much more. So pennies for the difference. And you get it in 2 papers.
No, but I don't know how many.
I would guess it probably is based upon how many inches you're using.
Yeah.
The more information you want in there, the more it's gonna cost.
Can you do advertising rates?
I can try.
I know we have special, but this might give us a ballpark.
Well, yeah, I'm not sure that's necessary because, it's what the town gets.
It's, each of the municipalities gets that rate. That we all
Yeah.
set together.
Yeah.
I think that one of the problems with saying 2 newspapers, what if we just said in the Wiscasset newspaper? And then it will automatically go to Brook Bay anyway. Would that be?
Only if we're assured that they're gonna share it with Lincoln County.
We always, we,
I know you say that, but eventually it will come back and somebody's gonna say, well, I didn't see it
Tough.
in the Lincoln County paper.
They don't have to see it in the Lincoln County paper,
you're only
You see
saying
it
that
in the
because Charlotte's not
register.
there today.
but it automatically goes. Unless you're going to specify, John.
Yeah,
They
no,
have to
okay,
put
yeah.
it in
Mm.
both newspapers.
Mhm.
I think we have to trust the process. Nobody
I've been
was
burned on that
around
before.
on Monday night.
Yeah, I've
Trust
been
me, we
burned on
need
that
to trust
process
the
before.
process. Any luck?
Anyway,
$11.50 per column each, so
That sounds
Yeah,
about right.
so it would probably be
so it'd be
20,
less than that.
no, it'd
It's-
probably be $25 for a ballpark.
$25 and then
Yeah.
it's probably like 27 for both papers. So, it's really pocket change. The difference
Yeah.
is a pocket.
so that
Because
comes
it's a
out of the
small-
pocket of the applicant,
Yes,
okay. So, and the town, weren't we told the town had decided that they were gonna charge $50 for that? Isn't something that was said in a meeting?
I don't
For
remember
the
what.
certificate of appropriateness
About the
application.
price that the town,
But that would include all the Xeroxing and everything. There were.
no, I'm saying that, but that just leaves
You want to know
$25.
what they are charging?
Yeah,
$25 plus $2 per abutter
Yep,
oh, okay,
is what it says on the application.
that's right, good. All right,
Okay.
thank you.
so that covers, I think,
But it wouldn't cover the actual poster.
that's another issue. It's another
That's
issue.
another issue? Okay.
Uh,
although we're trying to make this as simple as possible for the person who's applying.
Yeah, let's do it sentence by sentence, John.
All right.
Okay, so after the sentence that starts, in the case of an application for new building or demolition of any building, is where this hearing notice comes in. So you're saying that you don't want a hearing notice for everything else? I think we should have a hearing notice for everything else.
Well,
For everything.
yeah, we had discussion going back about, you know, major and minor things, you know.
Yep,
Aesthetics, you know, you're gonna replace a couple of sash boards, you know, the siding board or something, minor detail. You're gonna replace all the siding, big job.
right, well, minor stuff doesn't come before us anyway, so,
Yeah, that's, yeah.
but for everything that comes before us, do you want to separate it out as to demolition and new building? I think that the way it's written, in the case of an application for a new building, some of what we've had have been like garages and things like that. Do we want to limit it to only new building and demolition for public
Because
notice?
that overlooks 95% of what's going on in town.
Right, so I think that all applications should have this public,
You put the paper.
advertisement. What am I saying, Wendy? Come on.
What Bill said.
If you do that, that kind of precludes the idea that you have to send letters to your butters, though, shouldn't it?
No.
Not necessarily, because
Absolutely
there are
not.
people who don't read the paper. I
And
know
this
they're
is,
terrible people, but
this is everything.
and there are people that mean only read the paper online, so we don't get 90% of what's going on anyway.
You could.
I could, yes, but it's a whole other issue.
So
And I think
But
that,
what are you saying about the abutters? You're saying
Well-
that they don't need to?
The
No.
point was, no, I don't think that's correct at all. But she was making the point that putting a notice in the paper could eliminate the need to notify all the abutters, but I don't think
No.
that's right.
No.
No, I think we need to leave the part about notifying the abutters alone.
Absolutely. I think that's probably one of the more important parts of it.
I do think putting all of the notices in the paper would just be a good second,
I would
in
like,
case
I
you
like
don't
the
get a letter.
idea of all the notices,
Mhm.
you know, because, you know, those things sort of, you say, what? How come they decided to build a pool and they blew up the ledge without letting the neighbors know? And that's happened here. So,
such notice to appear not less than 3 or more than 10 days. If it's in the newspaper, it's going to come out on Wednesday.
Well,
People
Thursday.
get it Thursday. It's available Wednesday.
it is, but
So-
the actual newspaper comes out on Thursday.
It's dated Thursday. It's available Wednesday.
Okay.
Anyway,
I think that should be not less than 1 week, since we meet on
yeah, I like
Thursdays.
1 week on that.
And having, going to the other direction there where we were saying how soon the application needs to be in, that gives it some semblance of a chance to get into the paper.
Exactly.
And one other thing I think we should also address, and nobody said anything about it, is about the, putting it into No, I'm sorry, that should be up to the newspaper to put it online.
Well, the
It's
text,
not online,
Yeah,
everything's online.
papers online.
yeah, then we go online. Okay. So all the things that are happening should go online.
In this day and age, as far as,
They do.
yeah.
Well, I read the internet portion of the Wiscasset paper probably more than I do the paper, I think, because it only comes out once a week. And so that, to me, you get either, online, this is what they're doing now. Anyway. Good, what else are we saying? Have you got this all, so we can
You're
put it into,
writing the
Okay,
decision?
so the public notice will be posted, a notice of public meeting will be posted at Town Hall, that's the old one.
at least, how many days?
Town Hall, 5 days before the public meeting and on the town's website. And I want to change that, Town Hall and on the town's website, at least 5 days.
Yes, that reads
Yeah.
better.
That puts a little bit of onus on town to have the notice out also.
Yes.
Mhm.
Okay, so what are we going to do? Are we, in case of an application for a new building or demolition of any building, we're going to strike that and just make this all applications?
I think that's what we
No,
landed on.
do it an and/or. New construction, demolition, and any other.
So we should
So
just say
let's
all.
simplify it,
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
applications.
All applications.
That way there's no question.
Identify verbally new construction and demolition as the high point. Because if it's not there, I think it can get lost.
Yeah, well, I think if we say all applications should have
I think that's.
Public.
Should cover it.
should cover it. We're charging $25 to cover that.
Mhm.
All applications have to notify abutters.
Should the ordinance, I haven't found it within what we've been reading. Should the ordinance give a pathway as to what people do? I mean, those are the questions that are asked me
We
when
talked
I
about doing a
walk
separate
in.
publication. I mean,
Yeah,
yes, the
but-
ordinance
But
should.
it's not in
but-
here, because I tell them to read the ordinance. But it doesn't give a map.
No.
And say, well, what do I do next? Well, you have to read the ordinance, and then you have to go talk to
I
the
think it's,
inspector, and then you have to get the papers that are on the door. And that's sort of like a map that people can follow.
but reading the ordinance is pretty daunting. And I'm not a great ordinance reader, but I think at some point if you developed a publication that went, a handout that could go, that Stan could give people, that says, if you want to do modifications to your house, here's what you need to do, A, B, C, D.
That's
You are welcome, yeah.
basically what the application says,
Yeah, it does, right.
you know.
And
So-
that's it.
Yeah.
And that's the good part about that. And they've got that right on the door where people go in and get a copy of it and fill it out. Okay, good.
This one, 6.1, this is Jim Cochran's thing of the poster notice on the property should be above the sentence. Well, we're changing that sentence out, so I'm not gonna worry about it. Jim does not feel that it should be all
Owners. I love that word. That's good.
Yeah,
Town
yes.
manager
and
to create a financial burden on the COA applicants. public notice via town website and boards, plus the poster on affected properties, was more than adequate in what is practiced by many HPCs elsewhere. He still advocates for the poster notice on property
Yes.
versus new post wherever you see it. Especially in fact, in light of the fact that Select Board has already raised the COA application, and he doesn't like it. He feels it's too high.
I think that,
Was that before it got clarified? That it's, people were adding that additional monies that needed to be added on because of, those things that needed to go before the planning board, like new construction? Isn't there a different
that's,
funding?
yes, that's a building permit.
Yeah.
That's a whole different animal.
But someone, when we were talking to Marion that night, I thought that she was saying that people were adding that money to the, theoretically adding that money to our, what they were charging
Yeah.
for this and making it, but that, it's in total, but it's not this fee. That's a separate fee.
Yes, exactly.
But people were misinterpreting it as all being part of the historic preservation fee.
I think we should have, I don't know if we can put it as part of the ordinance, I would like to. I think it would be good to have it absolutely set out, and I think we should, you should, develop a budget for the HPC.
I'm not really happy with that thought. I like the idea of the budget, but until we get a town planner.
You may not. Did you see? You
Well,
see
of course
you
I
see what's
know,
coming?
we won't get a town planner, but,
No.
it's enough, it's not having the
Do
problems.
you
we
realize,
face.
no, off the record, do you realize what was announced in Edgecombe today?
I didn't read it, actually. What?
He's not going to be their authority. Wiscasset's not Stan. Wiscasset's not renting him out.
Oh, yeah, no,
So his duties are going to be more here, I suspect.
yeah.
And the reason being is that there is no town planner. He's going to be the planning office.
Well, from right now, he is.
Yeah,
Well,
I mean, that's what I'm saying,
yeah.
is, that's the point there.
But I think Stan's doing that on his own. I mean, Stan has been extremely busy. He was, at one time, right before his heart attack, he must have been going to 8 different places. Yeah. So maybe, but I do understand what you're saying, that. And I do, when people call me, because he says, call John, and I try and tell him, okay, this is great. This is how we're gonna do it, and, we have to do this, and have, with everything involved with the ordinance. I still send them to Stan. Stan is the one who actually sets the wheel in motion.
He's the only official person there.
Right. Yeah, that's right. Thank God for Stan. You can write that down.
Well, Stan is Stan.
What was your thought in developing a budget? What sorts of items would you see being on it? Because I can see reasons why down the road we would need to
Well, I can
have
see
a
it down
budget
the road.
developed.
Yeah, I can see it down the road.
Even if we don't have any money to implement it,
Yeah.
if it ever comes up,
Yeah.
if we get the bazillions of dollars from the,
Well, if we did get a grant.
If we did.
If we did get a
Yeah.
grant, then absolutely, it's to do it.
and even before we get a grant, if we had a series of items that we wanted to accomplish, we would need to develop a budget to go with that, so that for applying for a grant, or if some miracle happens and the town gets some money.
Well, Number
And
one thing
after
that
they throw it at everybody else, they have a little bit left for us.
Mhm.
I think would be a top priority item is training for the,
That's the sort of thing I'm thinking would go on a budget, but it's not something that we need to develop right now necessarily. I don't want to dismiss it entirely.
Yeah, and talking about the downtown Maine that we were, that we were talking
Yeah,
about.
that's
Today was the
Or-
time when they got
or-
together, on the 15th.
paying for, speakers.
Speakers, signage on houses, signage downtown to delineate the historic
Has
district.
the town said anything we want to mail is okay with them?
I don't think we've done anything recently.
Like I'm saying, postage.
Postage, all that sort of stuff.
Postage for mailing to new property owners. The poster, which we want to have posted on the property.
Have to have those made.
There,
Once it's designed, it will
Yep.
have to be
Mhm.
fabricated and printed in sufficient quantities. Yeah, the printing, postage, training.
just saying,
Yeah,
if we put this in, who's paying for it?
exactly. Well,
That's
I
the
mean-
big question.
No, originally we had talked about it being covered by the fees that we had developed,
Yes, but the fees that we have developed
are gone with the wind, I know.
are gone with the wind, and also did not include the advertising expense, which used to be taken by the town. So,
And also the town does not tell us how much they've gotten, and we have no idea of any type of financial report.
well, that's easily come by.
From who? From the administration?
Yeah.
From Kathleen? Oh, okay.
Or Mary,
Mhm. Right.
all it takes is water on a stone.
Right.
Okay, he says he advocates for poster notice on property versus news posts for the average COA. So should we just leave it as it is? It will be, the advertisement will be for new building or demolition? If so, what is that $25 that we're charging people going for? What's that being used for? I think we need perhaps clarification from the town. If that's going into a fund that we can then use for random postage, I'm all for it. But if it isn't, I'd like to know where it's going.
Is the applicant doing the mail-in and paying for the postage, or is that?
Yes.
Well, the applicant obviously gives the money to the town.
Yeah, the town does the letters.
Does the letters,
I
so that's gotta
believe.
cover
Yeah,
some of
And the
that.
town also handles sending things out to the newspaper,
yeah.
because Kathleen has made that very, very evident to me in various times. And she needs to have a certain amount of time to do it. And in a way, it's almost, I am relieved that she's gonna do this, because she's got she can do all this stuff. So,
In a certain amount of available time, as we're saying, that, 15 days out, it gives 5 working, or at least 5 working days to get it posted in a paper, which may or may not, if it's taken 5 days to get it into the paper, or up to that, it doesn't necessarily mean it's gonna be in the paper 10 days before the meeting, which is,
well, she's very good on that. Kathleen really is holding everything down within that particular thing. Because I've told people that, they wanted, and in fact, Terry Keller wanted to do it. She said, well, can I get in next week? And I said, no, you can't. Why? Well, because says, we have 10 days that we
You have to
at
kinda-
least have to
You
deal
have
with.
to kind of go with everybody that is ever going to fit into that position, whether it be the current person or somebody else down the line, is not going to be as efficient or maybe more efficient. But you have to set it somewhere within a reasonable time frame, not what you know the person there right now is going to be able to do. The person that replaces this individual may not be able to do it that quickly.
Well, and especially us, we are not paid professionals. And so, you know, we all have our own particular timeline when we can do things like this.
So Jim's saying poster as opposed to?
It doesn't say that.
Newspaper?
I suppose.
No,
He says,
he advocates for poster notice on property,
Mm-hmm.
for anything.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
with cases of new construction or demolition,
Anything,
anything.
anything.
I agree, so we should take that out. Cases of
If we put a
any kind of
poster,
construction, new or old, or how about the word restoration? Is that-
Okay.
right, he's right
That's-
that that should go above in case of the application.
What I'm reading here, that what Jim is saying is, however, with regard to notice being placed in the papers at applicant's expense for all COA actions, we felt, and I still strongly feel, that this was far too onerous on town management and to put too great a financial burden on COA applicants. When public notice via town website and boards, plus the poster on affected property was more than adequate. So he is saying, not for all.
Right,
Right.
That's-
That's what I,
so that's why I say this goes back up to the top, and then in case of application, a hearing notice shall be placed in a newspaper of general circulation. Or do we want to do that whole paragraph of bills?
I'm just playing devil's advocate here. If we're saying it's going on the town, being posted at the town hall, it's going on the town website, it's going in the papers for every application,
I thought we just decided we were not saying that.
I don't think that's where I'm confused. I thought we had said we were.
We had, and then everybody seemed to feel that they wanted to go along with Jim's thing, which is only for demolition and new construction. New building,
In the paper.
yeah.
Didn't think we backtracked on that, but I know he did.
Well, then I don't understand why you were reading this from his thing.
Because my question was, didn't Jim say not all?
Yes,
Yes. Anyway. What do we want to do? That is my point. Because we've got posted here on the website, notification to all of the abutters, and a poster, and the newspapers,
Yes.
for everything.
for a new building or demolition,
Mhm.
but not for everything. Is that what I'm hearing?
That's what it says, as far as I can see.
John, we're discussing whether or not we're changing what it says.
I can hardly wait to have this get up in front of the board. They're gonna go crazy.
Why?
Well, unless we have it
Once
very,
we
very
get this
simple.
ironed out, it will be very simple
Mhm.
to
Yeah.
read.
Yeah,
It's just because we're working from 4 different positions here, trying to come to a
With two
point.
different opinions being emailed in that we don't have people to explain their motivation.
yeah. Well, I thought that when we put the things in front of the board last year, that they were very simple to understand. And they did change things.
They did nothing about the amendments we wanted.
Yeah, they
And they did not, well, one of them that they changed, I know, was the cost.
I don't think they looked at our amendment, I think they made their own
But I
decision.
agree with you, I don't think they did look
Yeah.
at the amendment.
But regardless, we need to know what we're gonna do with this piece of,
Okay.
Okay, so now we have, is this what you want? A notice of, I'm on 10.6.1.2. A notice of the public meeting will be posted at Town Hall at Town Hall and on the town's website at least 5 days before the public meeting. A poster shall be posted on the subject property stating the alteration, construction, or demolition proposed and the date, time, and place of the COA review. In the case of an application for a new building or the demolition of any building, a hearing notice shall be placed in a newspaper of general circulation, such notice to appear not less than 1 week prior to the scheduled hearing.
that sounds fine.
Okay?
I agree with that.
Okay.
Okay. I will type that up and get it to you.
Good. Okay.
Has anyone come up with any other amendments to,
The only one that I've been talking about is the size
We discussed
of
that
the
last week.
historic district, if we can bring it in a little bit.
the first paragraph
On this amendment.
on the proposed amendments that I brought you 2 months ago, and it's on this one, is Wiscasset Historic District. For the purpose of this ordinance, the Wiscasset Historic District is defined by the boundary of the National Historic District established in 1973. The requirements of the ordinance will apply to any structures within properties wholly or partially within that district.
You know, that was part of what we had originally sent to the selectmen.
No, it wasn't,
No,
we
no.
hadn't changed, we hadn't changed
We hadn't changed it.
the border.
No, but we did change it at the November, I think I looked at it, it was the November meeting.
Yep.
So we should be good there. And I don't think we've gotten any further than that.
I don't think it did either.
I've asked people to give me suggestions, I think we have to have this
We
to you.
had placed in, about an authorized agent rather than the property.
That's
owner.
on here as well.
That's on here.
Yep.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yep.
These all still have to come back before select board because
They
they
have to-
tabled it all.
They have to come back before the ORC, because a little bit of the wording has changed. So far, this one simple page is what goes before the ORC.
Okay. And then after.
And I will type that up and do it in, the changes in red,
Okay.
and then I'll do the changes in black. I'll do it in black how it will actually
Okay.
appear.
And then it goes in front of the board?
Yes.
Okay.
Susan, what would our timeline be to get this on the GDOT?
I think, don't you guys have to have it by March? Because you have to have a public hearing, and then it has to go to the selectmen.
It has to go to the ORC and then have a public hearing? and
Yeah,
then-
the ORC theoretically has to have a public hearing.
You have to do a public hearing even if you're going to the town meeting with it?
Then we're going to the selectmen to see if they will include it on the warrant.
And then it goes to
And
the town?
so,
Yeah,
yes.
okay. No, I'm not, I
Yes.
just want to know the path.
yeah,
And we have to do it by March.
Well, whatever, we have to find out from the town clerk what the closing date is for something to make the
Let's-
warrant.
let's say, these are pretty well set. I will send them to you. By our next meeting, which is the first week in March,
One more.
Well, this is actually 10.4.2.4. Action by the Board of Selectmen upon receipt of the Commission's recommendations as provided above, the Board of Selectmen shall consider the proposed designation and approve or disapprove the request.
No, that's for
That's for the-
designating.
That's for the request to be placed on the ballot, okay.
No, a request for being placed as a historic, National Historic Landmark.
Okay, okay, it says formal adoption of historic districts, historic sites, historic landmarks.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just know last time we discussed setting ourselves a deadline by which we wanted to get everything.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
let's.
nobody's given us anything else. One of the things that happened last time was that we were way under the gun on this. I would like to say I will bring the corrections, I will send them to you by email. Please look them over. If you have any changes, be ready to change them. Otherwise, be ready to, if you have any changes, let me know. Otherwise, maybe you can approve this and give to the ORC, which meets,
A final draft to be presented to ORC.
yeah.
So
And you'll be meeting, what, the 4th of March?
First one.
The
Well,
ORC.
they meet,
Oh,
The
okay.
second-
Okay.
the second, the schedule is the same as the planning board, the second and fourth
Okay,
Mondays.
fine.
If,
That's-
yeah, if they have an
Yeah.
agenda item.
So we should plan to get this approved at our next meeting,
Right,
so that we can hand it off to the ORC, so that we have plenty of time to have the public meeting, give it to the selectmen and get it on the ballot.
right.
I think
And maybe that's
great
all the
idea.
amendments we get done for this ballot.
If we're still here,
Well,
If you're still here.
getting on the ballot,
You going to Italy,
March 1st.
so that could be an agenda item.
Yeah,
Okay. And that should take care of that.
and that's the information you're gonna get to us as soon as possible. From Susan.
yes.
Okay, so get it on the March agenda. Okay, old business. We're finished with discussion modifications. Old business, Main Street, Maine. Have you had a chance to read the papers that Wendy brought to us?
Pile of papers.
Really excellent. I think it was a good day.
What is there, seven or eight in Main Street?
I believe there are 10.
And, okay, yes.
Bath Brunswick, Augusta, Gardner maybe,
Saco
something like that.
or Scarborough or something.
Pittsburgh or one of them.
Go to the website, find out.
Hollowell, I think, is one.
Hollowell maybe one.
The only drawback that when I was reading it, that I can see is that getting a paid director.
Well, as we talked about last time, we're not here yet.
Oh, I know,
We're not
I know,
close
but
here.
it's reading, I think it's got a lot of wonderful purposes.
We
and
can
We-
go for a
Organization,
grant,
but
perhaps.
we have to start from the organization standpoint.
Well, we need to foster this to the town. We do not need to be, we're bringing this up as an avenue for downtown, not for historic preservation. It has a lot to do with historic preservation, but the onus is on business.
Oh, sure, business and the owner.
And they have to be the ones that are involved in making it happen.
And this is part of the eight principles that they put out for Main Street Maine.
Very good. Augusta, Bath, Belfast, Biddeford, Brunswick, Gardner, Rockland, Saco, Skowhegan, and Waterville.
That was Skowhegan, yes. I didn't know that, as a matter of fact.
So we could at this point, I don't know, contact this Ann Ball and see if she wants to come speak to us.
I think that, you know, like we did the open house, see if we can't get their representative to come to a preservation meeting at which folks from the downtown district are invited to come and hear the speaker and a presentation to get a handle on if they're interested, and also invite the select board.
Well, when do you think would be a good time to start this injection of, let's all get together and work on the town?
Well, I would say, you know, the first point being the representative from Main Street availability.
Sure, and available, you know, remember when we had the open house here before, we had about 6 people who actually attended. And my concern is bringing somebody in to talk and not getting the crowd that we really would like to. And I really think that everybody's sight path is on what is occurring.
I suspect that based upon anything that we may or may not have read in the most recent past from Jim was the topic of discussion was very little known. So if an invitation were sent out to all those people that are on the emailing list that you get from, there should be a pretty fair number of folks, either that or we type up an invitation, I run it off on the copy machine and walk down the street and stick it in each door.
Well, that's all
I
right.
think your point though is to find out first
So
the availability.
why don't I give her a
And
call?
if you would, that would be wonderful, I think. And if she says, I can't meet until September, fine.
Mhm.
Or if she says, I can meet tomorrow,
You may want to get the chamber involved.
Absolutely, I want to get the chamber involved.
That was one of the points that we were about to make too.
Yeah, because in Bath they didn't, and it was a real,
Well, there were some interesting personalities involved in that too.
oh, there were real interesting personalities involved for us.
So,
But the
if I-
chamber went away.
If I contact Ann Ball, and I will do that in the next couple of days, does somebody else want to reach out to the chamber and gauge their interest?
Please repeat.
Somebody else reach out to the Chamber of Commerce here in town
Okay.
and see if they're interested. Because like you said, we don't want to get her down here if everybody says, oh, I don't want to do
Do you
that.
want to?
No.
Okay. And you know where they are, that store across the street? The
They
guy
should be
owns it. Who's it?
moving
Is
into
it-
the planning
Isn't he still
office.
president?
I think they're moving into the planning office.
Oh, they really are? Oh, okay.
Yeah, they got a no-cost lease or something to be in the front of the planning office.
of the Lincoln County,
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good.
Down the street here.
Yeah,
on Route 1.
I don't know if they've moved in
Across
yet,
from
but
Big Al's.
Yeah.
Okay.
right across from Big Al's, yeah.
Oh, good.
So they have a year-round place now, not just down on.
Neat. Good. I can remember that when there was a bookstore.
So we can gauge their interest and I'll find out if she's available and when she's available
When she's available, and we'll talk to the other.
and what else she would recommend that we do.
Well, one of the things about the eight principles that I think is really interesting, self-help. No one else will save your Main Street. Local leaders must have the will and desire to mobilize local resources and talent. Just in that particular statement, there's a lot.
It makes a huge difference. And it would be, I don't know if this is at all possible, but if we could draw in businesses that aren't in the downtown get some input from businesses.
Well,
That might-
that's why I think the chamber would be
Yeah.
really good on that, because
I think that'd be-
they're absolutely all over.
Is there, like, the chamber is anybody that wants to be, but does there exist in Wiscasset a downtown merchants group?
No,
I think the chamber is
I
it.
think the chambers.
It's just the chamber, okay?
Yeah.
We could also involve the different clubs and the different groups.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, we definitely
Like,
want to
Rotary
get
and that sort of
The
stuff.
garden club would be, you know,
Mhm.
they're always interested in help.
and make sure we're
LCHA
reaching beyond
was
just
there.
downtown, because that's a huge
Mhm.
bone of contention right now. Is there's the downtown district and then there's everybody else.
Yeah.
And if we can
I
get
think we
everybody
should-
working
yeah.
together, we'd be in much better
But Main
position.
Street really is about the downtown.
It is, but with input from, the downtown could be larger than 2-3 blocks.
And you may want to wait until the MDOT thing is settled one way or the other, because right now, Gimbels is not talking to Macy's down there.
I think that is a good point.
So we might be looking at, when is that going to be settled?
Maybe next week.
March, isn't it?
The other,
One way or the other, yeah.
the other point to bring up is we do want to pursue becoming a CLG even before this,
Yeah.
before we really get this ball rolling. It would be important for us to finish the process of
Yeah,
becoming a
yeah,
CLG.
okay. Yeah, the
That would give
CLG
us-
is why it seemed, with me, it was sort of running hand in hand with this. So.
Yeah, I think if we could wrap that project up and then
Mhm.
start the next project,
Well-
we'll have grant money available and a little bit more clout
Yeah.
to get the rest of it rolling.
And I've got it in my notes who to talk about on the CLG, because she wants to come back and talk to us again. on it.
Mhm.
Okay, wait, the young lady that was here,
Yeah.
okay? The question we need to get back from her, because I don't know that we ever actually got it unless you did, identifying the points on the then existing ordinance
That they.
that they
wanted.
recommended we tick up in order to qualify.
Yeah.
Mhm.
There
I
there
think
were,
Ben
you
had
know,
gotten that back and I don't think he shared it with us.
I.
Really?
Well, I
So it's in
don't,
his
I think,
office?
I think the timing might have been such that he didn't have a chance to get it
So it
back.
might be in his
It
office?
might be.
You could also just ask him, he's right down the street.
I could drop by and say hello, couldn't I?
Yeah, she made note, that- and I don't remember, but it wasn't a whole lot
Right.
of things that were not in the ordinance that qualified it for meeting the criteria.
It would be nice if I could get my clammy paws on that before your next meeting.
I know you needed a survey, that I remember from my reporting.
Right,
know
but that's not
what?
part of the ordinance.
No, but that's, before you can get a CLG, you needed to
Yep.
do a survey.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
The ordinance is the one that, as you
When did
say,
we
we can
have
get that all
It
pulled
was-
together.
Wasn't it October, November?
I think it was earlier than that.
Oh, it was earlier than that, I think.
What was the question? I'm sorry.
Well, of course, no, yeah.
I'll try to come in.
Ben was obviously still with us.
Yes.
That
Yeah.
sounds so terrible.
Why don't you go back in the agenda? and see
Well,
if you
I
can do
don't
that.
have the agendas right here, but I do have all of my notes. So, I'm thinking it was, that's all downtown.
In either case, hopefully she's still with the state historic office.
No, what I
Somebody
thought, I
else
talked
is.
to her over the holidays, and she, because you and I had talked about it, and I thought she was really open to come. She couldn't come in January or February because of the fact that she was busy with other things. But she said for me to call her.
Was it Megan
Somewhere.
Hopkins? Yes.
Yes.
She was here June 8th. The ordinance needs a few minor tweaks.
She's with Maine.
Maine Historic Preservation.
That's right, yeah, that's right.
Her name again?
In fact,
Megan
I think she's
Hopkins.
taken over, and she's in a higher position. Before she was assistant. Yeah, I think she's in
No,
charge.
she went from DOT to
Yeah.
SHPO, that's where
Yeah.
it needs was. Now, you know, if she's done something else since then, okay.
So do you want to do it, when do you want to do this? In March? So I can, when I call her, I can give her some type of time?
Maybe find out from her if she's sent.
I'll find out her dates, because obviously our dates are rather
Right.
open.
I can call her, I think.
Okay, no, I'd be glad to call her, because I've already got,
Okay.
I've got some.
Find out if she sent anything to Ben.
Because we know we
Of
need
what
by.
we need.
Okay, send it
Updated.
in, all right,
Yeah. And then,
And if she would,
send it to us,
if she has a copy, if she email me.
please, copy please.
and then maybe just go through, I think we need somebody to sit down and go through the steps with us and see what we've done and what we still need to do.
Yeah.
I know the ordinance is a big one, but there were a bunch of other steps that Ben had, sort of a checklist. And I don't think we have that.
Survey.
The
We
survey,
have got listed all of the properties
That's
within
one of the big
that
ones, yeah, the list of properties.
district,
Mhm.
which will change if we get this new districting, new borders, but it won't
More
change that
condensed.
much.
we have more of a list than we need, basically.
No, it's gonna change.
No, but I say that the district will be more condensed than the current one.
Not really,
Not really?
no.
Just the outline?
It's a different shape.
Oh, okay.
It's shaped like a pea. Excuse me, I'm sorry,
Key for preservation.
promise not to do that anymore. Okay, list of properties and then what, and,
And what other steps we need to take to apply.
yeah, steps,
And maybe she could come in and just workshop it through with us.
And give
And
us-
she's really, she was very, very nice in
Yeah.
conversation I had with it, just, yes, anything, if we can help you, we will.
We'll be adding about 25 properties, and we'll be deleting about cozy 40.
And who is we doing what, is that our?
This
group?
is your consultant going back through the town
Oh.
tax,
Through all the memories that you
Thanks.
had of doing this, okay.
no, all the tax stuff, and just
Oh, okay.
updating the properties that are within this.
That's right, you were doing that.
Yeah, I did that.
And we also, this is the
Done
group that
all that.
we had to get people to help us, because,
Yeah,
we need.
I think that there's something like on the ground, when you say survey, it's not just a listing of the properties.
No, but that's a big step.
Yeah, identifying
Yeah.
which they are, but then it goes down to shoes on the pavement.
And that's where we should really, get this going before the, summer comes up, because the kids are there.
That would be a perfect summer project for an architecture student, architectural history
How about
student.
Girl Scouts?
The level of motivation of my high school age Girl Scouts is low enough that probably not. But I do have a couple who are considering doing gold award projects, and that might qualify.
Yeah,
So,
community service.
Oh,
well,
You have to pay them.
not necessarily, not for if they are able to do it as a gold award. It would be unpaid, they would have to raise their own money to do the project. A gold award project is not a community service project, it's what we call a take action project, which is working with the community for a sustainable project. So it's something that would outlive itself, and this might be
Yeah.
a really good,
Mhm.
that might be a
Kinda
good
like what
fit.
the Eagle Scouts do, right? When they
It's
take-
exactly it's our version of Eagle Scouts.
But now, with all the universities applicants, they need to have any type of, community
Mhm.
work. And the problem with our downtown, the other commission that's working with the fire department sometimes and the chief of police and that, is that we did have 2 kids in there, two actually high schoolers who came to the first 2 meetings and now they're gone. We haven't seen them for a while.
Well, that's high school kids, they've got so much going on. I literally,
Yeah. But that's part of, a lot of the applicants have to do this, you know, this thing. Maybe we could, if we get our balls of wax together, we can do it.
Well, I
Good,
consider
that sounds
this as
exciting.
a project.
Organize it as an internship, see if community,
An internship is another great way to do it. There's an architecture school at the University of Maine, Augusta.
offer to give, you know, some college credit for it. You don't have to do anything.
Yeah.
You just have to acknowledge that they did the work.
And probably find a faculty member to administer and guide and lead the process. I don't know if they have architectural history up there or not.
That's what we do with LCHA when I was president of that.
Mhm.
And we got some people, we were looking for kids who want to get, you know, that type of.
We can't do
credit.
internships anymore, we got dinged for it,
Yeah.
because we're not nonprofit.
In fact, I think that Carnival Courthouse was a recipient of 2 young
Yeah.
people
But you
who
could
did a
even,
lot of good work.
you could even contact the Boston Design Center or
Well, I agree,
colleges
I
down
agree.
there
This has-
and
this has
get
all
that
sorts
done
of
as an
things that
internship.
we can get on. All right, CLG is new business, is that, that's actually the old business?
Old
right?
new business.
Okay. No, any new business that we want to go into the hopper? Good, nothing.
Gosh, and I was waiting. all
Our
this
next
time.
meeting will be, oh, let me see.
March 1st.
Thursday.
March the 1st.
March the one.
March the lunch. March 1st, 2 weeks. That's it. And, okay, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion to adjourn at 6:25.
I will second it.
All those in favor?
Here, here.
Hey.
Are we really not gonna talk about MDOT? Not at work.
Was that a reporter asking us?
We just adjourned, we can't say anything else. I will say, I read the article in the paper and I'm still not clear what they decided to do.
They are holding a special town meeting to decide whether or not to take the $75,000 from jury. And then, I know.
But just the way the article was worded, I guess, they rejected this, which means that, but if they hadn't rejected it, it means something.
Read the Portland Press.
I did read Portland Press.
They rejected it.
They rejected it.
Which means that it's back to the drawing board, and the judge
Ladies and gentlemen,
decides
it's still
whether
on
it's
the
like-
tube.
Hmm?
It's still on the tube.
Oh, I couldn't see my face when I made that face.
Yeah, I know.
I was watching those guys, though, their faces, they were just like, okay.
Which guys,
The
the,
Do you
two
really
lawyers.
want to discuss this
hmm.
because you have a quorum here?
Oh, okay,
Okay,
we're not.
to ending, select outputs.
That's a great idea for
Select
full project.
YouTube
It's the right kind of thing.
For an internship?
No, for a gold award project.
Really kind of check. If you uncheck the YouTube stream, ooh, turn on.